Few Goldilock Bears podcast with Vincent Cloud.
David Lauer.
And Scotty Allwood.
John Nemitz will be joining us shortly.
Why did you whisper that?
I don't know. I wanted a woman to say it with a soothing voice, but I can't do
Yeah, it
it.
was like an elevator music type of voice.
This is the show where we talk about loves, hates, and indifferences. But before we do that, though, and before John joins us, we talk about old topics in a segment we call the Deja Fuse. Take it away, Scott.
I do have a few deja views because I haven't been on since episode 38. Go check it out. This is episode 45 if you forgot to read the description. What I want to do first is show you this picture I just found because I was like, what can I put in the background that'll make me giggle? And then I found this. So we're going to check out this picture first. And there's that guy.
Okay, for
I was expecting it to be a picture of you.
Maybe it is, and I'm gonna lean like this the whole episode, so you have to look at this the entire time. Is that okay?
Please don't. Please move back center. Thank you. Better.
All right. You guys talked about in the last episode that I really enjoyed a few things. Walkie-talkies. I was super, super jealous that John has a lot of time with them, and Dave, you've even experienced the walkie-talkie world. And I just am sitting over here. I was the boy that was wishing I had walkie-talkies. And then as I got older, forgot about them. When I had money, never bought them. But now I don't have money and I want them again. And I don't even know what the hell I would do with it. But we do go kayaking and stuff, and that would be kind of fun to. Hey, I'm right behind you still.
wait, are they waterproof, Dave?
I'm
Yeah,
sure
you can get waterproof ones. There's lots of like sporting ones. You can get it like Shields All Sports or like Gander Mountain or Camping World.
Can
So
you?
someday I'm going to come back on the show with some walkie-talkies and give you the whole show. Scott, come in. I'm here, buddy.
Oh my gosh, double fisted, man. Ugh.
That's all I
Uh,
really. I was just jealous the whole time. Just like you fucking assholes. Just keep bragging how you have all this fun with walkie-talkies.
Instead, you had the what is it, two cans and a string, oh, or
I
two
just have
cups.
some cam. We did try that. I think we tried that in elementary school once. That was fun. Had two styrofoam little cups with a string. Did you guys do that in school?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it worked surprisingly well, but then you also realize once you put the can down from your ear and the person talked, you could still just hear them. And you're like, oh, okay.
Oh. And then it was also the last episode snoring, and John called his wife a snore baby. And it made me laughing so much. And I don't know why, but just him being like, hey, snore baby, made me giggle. And I'm definitely a snorer though, and have ruined my friends' nights many a times from snoring after drinking with them. Because like you, Vince, I would drink and then I'd be like, awful.
You know, we mentioned that little bit you could put in your mouth. Yeah. Would you ever
Oh,
put that in there?
I drool, so I don't know if I would be like a guy that just like, hey, it's open, and then it just falls out, and then it's maybe it just keeps all the water in my mouth, and I can't drool, and I drown. I was just trying not to snore, man.
All right, let's get the actual show started, man. I say, Dave, go ahead, crack her open, man.
Oh my God. I'm used to John going first, so I'm completely unprepared for this.
Oh,
Um, my first topic. I love a good sharp knife. I came up with this topic, Vince, because last week you said, "Oh, this podcast is running a little long," and I was like, "I know the remedy to a podcast running too long. let me change the topics here. I'm like, well, let's talk about sharp knives, and that's going to cut down on talk time because what is there to say? But as something I love a good sharp knife. Just like some of my favorite things I own is like a couple of knives I own. It's like a really good kitchen knife where you can, cut through any piece of meat, any vegetable. It's super sharp. I have like kind of a
Stabbing knife for the people you kill. You
no,
afraid?
not a stabbing. I was gonna say like a honing rod to kind of like keep the blade, nice and crisp and nice and straight. And then also like I have like sharpeners where I can sharpen the knives. Um, but like I don't use them for any killing. I just cut things that are already dead because I'm not a psychopath. But if I wanted to, I could totally do it. Uh, and then I have a so I my wife got me a present and it was this kitchen knife and it like the handle is wooden and she had my last name like put on there. She knows a person who like makes custom knives and it's like my favorite present ever. And also I got a knife from my buddy Luke, and Luke he's in the army and he has like this kind of like a hunting knife where it has like a handle and then it has like a little like bridge here like that goes over the top of your thumb so like your hand won't slide up the blade, and then it has like ribs on the back so you can use that part as a saw. Then the front part is just, and it's like thick, it's very thick and like you can just do whatever to it and it's like indestructible, and it's like my favorite thing ever. It's like when I think about like things I own that like bring me pride and joy, like it's the couple of really good knives I have, and it was something that like it never crossed my mind until like a couple years ago because I didn't know what I was missing out on until I got one. And then I'm like, oh, I can see why there's like cases in certain stores that have like $100 knives or $150 knives. Because like once you have one of those knives, you're like, oh, now I want to get one that folds and I can put in my pocket. Because like you like, there's random people, they're just like, oh, you need a knife, and they just like whip out a pocket knife and they just have one in their pocket at all times. I'm not that person yet, but like I understand where that person's coming from because if you have a really good knife, you want to carry it with you at all times.
Let me ask you this. What's the most you've ever spent on a knife then? If you've actually started to dabble in that to where you've looked at knives that have been fairly expensive.
The most I've ever spent would probably be like $40. And that was for a kitchen knife. But because my two favorite knives I got were gifts. One was for my friend and one was for my wife. So I just got lucky that I got gifted them and they were really good. But I did for like a dirty Santa. I'm gonna get somebody a really nice knife, and I spent like the $40 was the limit, and I spent like $36 on Amazon for this really nice like Japanese chef knife, and it's like amazing, and like it was everybody's like everybody was fighting over it like at the Christmas party. It was funny.
Uh,
I had a Swiss Army knife for a little bit when I was younger, and that was cool as shit, man. Wasn't very sharp, but I think it was because I was a child, and they were like, give
we're
the
not going
dull
to give you
boy a
sharp.
dull knife.
Have you ever bought a knife or like got a knife to where like did the thing that they do on the, what do they call them, ads on TV where it's like a 30-minute show and they're like, watch it cut through this can, watch it cut through this shoe, watch it cut through my hand.
Yeah, I feel like most of the infomercials are kind of BS, where it's like, yeah, like you can like sit and sharpen your knife like for hours and then get it that sharp where it's like a razor blade. It's that thin where it's like a razor, and then you can just like peel a grape or like slice through a tomato super easy. And like, yeah, you should be able to cut through that stuff, but some of it's like excessive, like cutting through a shoe, like that's crazy.
You really needed that sharp, bud, do you?
Yeah.
Shoes all the time, you brick.
What's the knife that like it like pops out? Is that a switchblade or what is that?
Yeah, I think so.
That's always looked cool, like from the 50s and shit, like little greasers would be like psst, like that, cut each
And
Yeah,
then
and
other.
those
you have the combs. They do
Yeah. Oh
oh
my
yeah.
God.
yeah.
Yeah, some of those like the retractable spring-loaded ones, if they're over like a certain amount of inches, if they're over like 3.5 or 4 inches, they're illegal and you can't have them. It depends on what state you're in, but
So they don't want you having a knife that just comes out here and is like,
yeah.
Oh, you mentioned infomercials. I auditioned for an infomercial once.
oh my God, I need to hear this story now. Let's go.
I didn't get the part, but I did make it to the second round of auditions, which meant, the next day. So I'm like, hey, yeah, my first ever audition. And I got, the call back at least to day two. But yeah,
What was it
What was it
for?
for?
it was like almost like, I don't know, some kitchen stuff or whatever. It's like, Jamie, there's no way this could be that sharp and cut through that. That sort of like really cheesy, obvious dialogue.
I
But
feel like
they,
you have a great voice for that, though. See why you
yeah,
at least got to second round.
right. Yeah. Oh my God. That was crazy. It was really funny to see some actors, all of a sudden you're full of actors, and like one guy's like, yeah, I auditioned for this one commercial, came that close. You know what I mean? It's like, okay. But it was all a bunch of like small fish in a small pond. None of us were big fish at all. But it was funny to see how actors try and psych each other out and shit. It was like, this is so unnecessary.
So people were actually trying to fuck with you?
In subtle ways, like just kind of like trying to say something that seemed like they were kind of putting you down, kind of making you feel like, oh, why am I even here? That sort of thing. I don't know. You could hear people doing it to each other and stuff. It was fucking weird.
Yeah, I never understood that. Like you'll see that like in movies with like people in auditions and then they're sitting out there in the waiting room and they're all like talking really big, like trying to impress the other people around them. And it's like, see, this is why you don't have a job. You're not supposed to impress those people. The people on the other side of the doors, you got to impress them. Then you'll get somewhere, but they're focusing all their energy on the wrong stuff.
Trying to get into their head, like, hey, I'm so outgoing and I'm so cool. Like, ee, 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 ee.
Yeah.
Know how it was, Vince? People just going, ee, 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 ee.
I was like, yeah, you squeaky sons of bitches.
I love that. I'm so like jealous. That would have been a fun experience.
Didn't you audition for fucking The Challenge or what, Real World or something?
Real world. And then we fucked it up royally, me and Tony. You sit down at this table. We waited like 2 hours to get inside. And then we sit down at a table of like 8 people. She's like, all right, tell me about yourself. So a couple people in front of me go, and then I'm like, hey, I'm just trying to become a better person. I'm trying to learn from my mistakes and stuff. And then like 3 people after me, including Tony, like, yeah, I'm trying to do that too. And then she called us out on it. She was like, is everyone just going to be doing that? And that was like a moment where somebody should have chimed in and been like, hey, just because I'm trying to be a better person doesn't mean you can sit there and act like, but no one did that. We were all too normal. We were just like, I guess so. All right, see ya. I did not get called back.
Oh man. That
But
that
that
would have
I
been
do
great then.
was
I do
DC.
feel like those interviews, like they want you to do something like out there and like a little bombastic and just like, because they want you to like be able to like, because if you're in the house and you're in like a situation and someone just says something a little bit talking back to you, they want you to be able to like off the cuff, just like be able to go somewhere random.
Oh yeah, I agree. And looking back now, I'm like, oh, okay, I get it. But I feel like I would do a lot better nowadays just because I'm a little more comfortable with myself as well. But unfortunately, can't travel to the past, so still working on that.
Yeah, I've never interviewed for anything, but I would be horrible at it. Like I I don't know. Like I could barely do like a regular job interview. So in like regular job interviews, like there's a certain amount of pressure, but I feel like if you're doing an audition like that, like the pressure's even higher because like they're not just judging your resume, but they're like judging literally every word you say and every reaction and like how you talk. like the mannerisms you have, your personality. They're like scrutinizing you like down to your soul. So it's just like, I don't know. I'm glad I've never had to do it because I think it would just like ruin my psyche.
But
What
imagine going into an interview and you have lines when they're like, "So, what's your greatest weakness?" And the line is, "I have no weaknesses. LOL, JK. Let's take a selfie." You know what I mean? You have to,
Yeah.
yeah, you have to hit those lines and stuff. So that's a different sort of nervousness.
I
But holy
actually love
crap.
interviews, like for jobs. I am my best version of myself. I'm more charming than I've ever been. I'm more like outgoing and lovable, I feel like, because I tend to get the job. Unfortunately, I am a dumbass and recently have not been keeping those jobs very well and quitting.
Hey, but if you're good at interviewing, it's not a big deal because then you can just bounce back.
Yeah, fortunately, I there for a couple of years. That's what I was doing. I was just like, I don't like this job. I'm just gonna go get something else. And then I know that I'm good at interviews, and typically I would just get the next job that I had an interview for. So it was good, but it was also like that I'm good at interviews.
That should be a future topic interviews. Because I got to say this real quick. I had an interview and it was two managers and I kicked ass. I had them laughing and shit. Like I was on a roll. But then I failed the drug test. So I didn't get the job. I'm like, oh no.
Yeah, that's
uh,
I always make sure to say that in the interview too. It's like, hey, give me a drug test right now. I'm gonna pass it. So we're good to go. I don't do shit like that, but we're good to go.
Oh my God.
Fire.
All right. This is no longer about a sharp knife, and it hasn't for like 5 minutes.
maybe
Anything else?
that's why the podcast goes so long, is because
You chose a
when we,
sharp knife too because you thought it'd be short and quick.
yeah, backfired quick.
It was a double-edged knife, that topic. Yeah.
Yes.
I think that's a good segue challenge right there. So Scott, take it away, Scott.
Well, we are going to do a real quick one here, Dave. And there's no getting around this. My indifference is combing my hair. So, a quick topic, baby. Here's me combing my hair the past 10 years. Doesn't happen. The last time I combed my hair was I was 26 and it was with a girlfriend for Halloween. We dressed up as the Little Rascals, Alfalfa, and what's the girl's name? Whatever. I just remember Alfalfa because he had the little. So it was like, I think she even
Daff.
had to bring a comb to me because I didn't have a comb. I just do the whole shuffle the hair if it's longer, kind of like a. It's fine. I got that dirty boy look. How about you guys? Do you like to comb your hair, Dave?
As you can see, no, I like that's way in the past. I used to comb my
Oh,
hair all the
yeah.
time when I was like 12 or 13 years old. I used to watch Home Improvement, and there was Zach and what Jonathan Taylor Thomas, and they used to have like they'd part their hair in the center and wear gel, and they had the nicest hair, and I wanted to be like those guys so bad. So I would put all this like gel in my hair, and I'd comb my hair back, and it was like I don't know, like I had two sisters, so they were always combing their hair. So like as the youngest boy, I just started to comb my hair all the time too, because I'm like, yeah, that's what people do. And then as I got older, I realized I'm like, oh, this no, I'm just
Sitting in the hallway at school, just hey guys, like what the fuck is this guy doing? Just combing his hair all the time.
yeah. Like at some point, I realized that I was too lazy to like comb my hair and do it every morning. Like I can barely be bothered to shower daily, let alone comb my hair daily. Like it was just not going to happen. So I've kind of like kept my hair short. I feel like for like the last time I had my hair long was I don't know. It's been years, years and
A couple
years.
years because I remember seeing an episode of the show and being like, dang, I think it was the Battle of the Challenges podcast. And I was like, dang, Dave's hair's longer. This is strange, but I like it. and it was like this little to the side thing that you did. I liked it.
I grew that out a couple years ago and I cut it immediately and I've because I had my hair short for like 13 years. And then I'm like, I want to see what it looks like when it grows out longer. And you're like, I know that there's like that awkward length where it's like you just got to battle through this awkward length, and then once it's a certain length, then it'll be better. But like it never got out of the awkward length. Like I had it where like it went down to my eyebrows and it like covered my ears, and it was just terrible. And I was like, I can't do this. Who am I trying to kid? I'm never long. I'm not going to be a long haired guy. Like I want to be, but I can't. This is not me.
Vince,
Uh,
how often do you brush your hair? Are
brush
you
my
brushing it
hair
right
all
now?
the time. No, but like you're talking about combing though. Like I think that's required for a certain length of hair, but my hair grows long and fast.
You want to whip
S-
it out? Come on, whip it out. Whip it
Uh,
out.
uh,
Oh, there it is.
yeah, somewhere back here. But that's like a man
Oh,
bun
you
or
cut
something.
it.
No, no, it's all wrapped up into a bun like structure.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh, I was going to say, I know it goes like down the length of your back.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, I barely comb, and my hair's kind of thick, so it doesn't really do anything. I need a brush, like a horse brush to get through this mane. Yeah. Segway challenge. Quick. Uh
Let's part ways with this topic.
Art ways. I
I don't
like it.
know.
All right. Let's go with me. Let's go with aliens existing. All right. This is my love. The idea of aliens existing. So now for the longest time, people are like, oh, we don't know what it is, like is the truth out there, or whatever. And people that believed in aliens were kind of shunned by society, like even fucking Blink 182. Did they kick him out? They're like, stop talking about aliens.
Left on his own accord, but I think it's more so with the fact that they were claiming to be abducted and anally probed and like all that stuff that kind of got them shunned because they didn't believe that happened. Like maybe
Uh,
they, oh yeah, maybe possibly aliens, but I'm sorry, what? They put their finger in your butt? Okay, get the hell out of here. This is a nice restaurant, sir.
Well, okay, I was gonna get to that, the idea of abductions. That's pretty freaky because I want the aliens to be nice guys. Like, I don't want to believe that this other life form is going to be just as evil as the British were way back in the day. Like, we're here to colonize. Quite, you know.
They're not killing people though, as far as we know. I mean, there are a lot of people disappearing every single day, so maybe it might be aliens too.
Yes, so all that UFO footage, and then the military are just like, yeah, we'll come clean. We don't know what these are. And I'm like, yes, I knew it. Like I want to believe as well. I've seen UFOs before, guys,
Seen one in real life.
at least twice that like I can name off for sure. When I've seen something, I'm like, I done seen something, and like no one ever believes me. Maybe because of the
What,
voice.
like,
Not
what did
not
you
to keep it
see?
up.
Like, what did it look like?
Like a disc like shape. I remember one time it like appeared and it was like moving downwards, kind of like almost like taking steps, like this end goes down, then this end goes down, and it was going like that, and then it just like zipped off. And I was like, what the fuck was that? And what was the other thing that I've seen? But I've seen shit. I've looked up in the sky and I'm like, well, falling star is cool, but falling stars don't go like down, down, and then up like a check mark. So
Where did you see it at? Like, where were you?
one was in Eau Claire in town. That was pretty nuts. And I remember I saw it for sure because I was going uphill, this really steep hill. So I was looking up at the sky when I saw the thing. And then the other times, I think I was in the country where I grew up or whatever. So, anyways, uh, I need to think that they're going to be good and well-meaning. You know, if they have all that advanced technology, I hope that their minds are big. And that's what it seems like. A lot of the things are like, oh, the grays and the talls and the lizard people, they all have big heads. Speaking of the lizard people, if that does exist, that I think everyone says the lizard aliens are more aggressive. So I'm like, oh shit.
Well,
But
they're the ones supposedly living with us, right?
I think
Maybe
that,
the aliens
yeah,
are coming here to check on the lizards.
yeah, like they're parole officers.
I'm not
uh,
gonna say anything bad about the lizard people. I think they're really cool and they're nice. I think they're some of the best and nicest people. They would never hurt us.
He's
so
a
yeah,
lizard person. Get him.
yeah, what do you guys think? Aliens?
I think aliens are awesome. Like, I think I saw a UFO when I was in fifth grade. Like, I remember it like yesterday. I was like, and I don't know if I was dreaming or if this actually happened because I woke up in the middle of the night and I had an eerie feeling and I was like, I need to look out my window. So I look out my window and I see this UFO with like two rows of lights on it, and it came down between like this tree in my backyard and my house, and that tree is probably like 100 feet away. So like this craft like came, and then it kind of just like then it just started to pan to the left, and it was just floating across the sky, probably like 60 feet in the air. And I would just watched it, and then it just went like out of my field of view. And I laid back down in bed and I was like, what the fuck? That was the craziest thing I've ever seen. And then I was like, I'm like, do I tell my parents? And I'm like, should I wake them up? But I knew like if I woke my parents up, like they could get mad at me because like they would always get angry if I ever woke them up. Cause I was like, I don't know, fifth grade, I was like 11 or 12 or something. But I didn't wake them up. And I just remember laying in bed thinking, like, holy crap, I just saw something crazy. And like looking back, like maybe I was just dreaming it all because I was in bed. So maybe it didn't happen. Like that's like the skeptic side of my brain. But like I remember it so vividly. Like I was in class and I was drawing pictures of it in my notebook. I could draw a picture today. I know exactly what it looked like. It was it was very strange, and like I've never seen anything like it since. Um and like and then like I remember I was telling like my family has like a history, like my grandma and my uncle both saw UFOs. Like when my uncle was a kid, in like Kenosha, Wisconsin. Him and his friend were riding their bikes. This is like the 1960s. They're riding their bicycles and they see a UFO, and it like came down and it was like hovering over the street, and they both like were scared and they like took off and they went home, and they both like told their moms like I saw like a UFO. There was a spaceship. They didn't know what it was. And so my grandma calls up this other friend's mom and was like, okay, have both of these boys draw a picture and then we'll compare and we'll see if they look alike. They both drew exactly the same thing. It looked exactly, and their stories matched up perfectly. And it's like, I don't know, they saw something weird. That's for sure.
Holy shit. Uh, Scott, have you seen a UFO before?
I have not, but I consistently wake up with my butt hurting. No. Things about your story too is that you were a kid, so it is that fine line of, am I just misremembering? Was it a dream? So that the fact that you have to just live with that sucks because it's you don't really know what happened, and it would be just for it to be that vivid too, for you to be able to draw a picture of it today. Which, if you would like to, go ahead and start on that as we discuss other things. Yeah, yeah.
All right.
I think that'd be fun to see.
But I feel like if I draw a picture, it's like the most generic version of a UFO ever. Like there's nothing special about it. It's like exactly the most generic thing you would think, and you'd be like, yeah, that looks, it's pretty lazy and pretty unoriginal.
John, are you with us?
And I'm John Nemitz.
This is
Uh, John, I believe. No, I love the idea of aliens existing.
Oh, backing down.
Because, well, I mean, the government was like, we don't know what these things are. This is not us. And I don't think.
We don't know what these things
So yeah, how do you feel about aliens? And yeah,
I think statistically they gotta be out there. Um, but just due to the huge distances of space, um, I'm not convinced that anything that anyone has seen is an alien craft. I do though like the theories of there being what do they call, like nuts and bolts UFOs versus like so that would be like, this is some technology that someone made and brought it here versus like transdimensional stuff and where it's not necessarily coming from some other planet out there, but coming from some other plane of existence. Like that's another concept that's fun to think about. Um, but I don't know. It's just like we talked about with Bigfoot and the Loch Ness monster and stuff. It's like, where's like the good footage of, you know, something awesome and
wait,
indisputable?
what about that footage that the government showed?
What,
Where like
the lights and stuff?
uh lights, I don't know, but like where it's from the jet and you could see like the tracking on the ship and you could see the ship moving throughout the clouds and stuff.
What does a ship look like?
It almost looked like uh the pill, uh Beats by Dre, or no, yeah, the pill.
Okay.
All right, I'll have to check that one out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Well,
think the only footage that there is out there is like always like grainy, and it's like you see like an object, but it just, yeah, it's like the shape of a tic tac, or it's just a light. And like we don't have like clear concrete video evidence. And we're at that point in time with now with like computer generated stuff and like CGI. At any point, like if aliens landed tomorrow, you'd be able to be like, oh, that's just a deep fake, like somebody that's just computer generated. You'll be able to dismiss it from now on out because it's like we had the sweet spot from like the 40s to the 90s where we had to get good UFO evidence and we didn't. So like now everyone's like, well, anything we see from this point out, people are just going to call it fake.
I don't necessarily believe in aliens in terms of like being out there with our type of intelligence. I do believe there are other creatures or other types of animals or something on other planets.
Like space cows and stuff.
Exactly. What I find interesting about this, though, is like even if there were intelligent aliens out there, I've read something to where if they were able to see us light years away, if they were able to look at Earth and see what was here, aren't they seeing stuff from hundreds of years ago or millions of years ago or something?
Yeah, exactly. So like, if they're 1 light year away, they're seeing stuff from 1 year ago.
Yeah.
And like the closest other star is something like 4 light years away. Um, and everything else is like way farther. So like when you start getting into like statistically where like, okay, there's so many stars we're hitting that there's got to be maybe someone watching, then, we're at like thousands of years for how long ago the signal left our planet and got to them. So it's like if you wanted to have a two-way conversation, you know, we would send a message, let's say like back when we first developed radio, like 100 years ago. Um, and if it took 100 years to get there and they're responding, then we'll get it 100 years from now. So,
it's like looking at
that's
those three
very efficient.
dots texting or typing a message, and that's Orion's belt.
Is anybody
Yeah.
out there? Dot, 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 dot. Yeah. So,
Yeah, that's why like if aliens do exist and they have visited us, it's like they've figured out space travel. They're not traveling in like light years. They're able to like bend space and time, create a wormhole, and they can just appear. Like that's what you would think, you know? So like if we are seeing UFOs and it was aliens in there, like they're fast moving ship. Like they're kind of like in Star Wars where like their ships move fast, but then they're like they get into that like outer space and they're like, all right, turn on the hyperdrive, and then they boom, like warp speed somewhere.
Yeah, I like it. I don't know. I feel comforted that they are out there. Like if they are, yes, I feel better because I don't. I'm looking around. I'm like, this is as good as it gets. Yeah.
One thing that I think's weird is like when the government like people are like, oh yeah, the government knows all about them, and it's just like if aliens do exist, I highly speaking. Oh,
Oh my gosh.
He got so animated, he threw his microphone off the table.
he didn't even move. Suddenly it was out. Oh.
Oh, while we're talking about technical stuff, for those just listening to this podcast, when Scott was like, "Look at me, look at the picture behind me," it's a fairly slightly overweight man, no shirt, mustache, glasses, and kind of shaggy hair, like he doesn't use a comb either, Scott.
And he's happy though.
I would maybe describe it as like imagine if Stephen Merchant weighed twice as much as he does and had a mustache.
I like that.
Dave, Dave, are you back?
I am back. My cat like was biting on the cord and unplugged it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. But what I was saying was I think it's ridiculous when people are like, yeah, aliens exist and the government knows about them and the aliens only talk to the people from the government. And it's like I that's highly unlikely. I highly doubt they're gonna be they come to Earth and they're like, let me speak to your manager. Like
What the? Come on, it's take me to your leader, right?
yeah.
They're totally Karening us.
That or if they did and they met like whoever it was, if it was Lyndon B. Johnson back in the day or something, or Nixon, and they're just like, let's get out of here, guys. This place is doomed.
I sometimes stumble onto TikTok videos where people talk about this stuff, and one of them was someone was like, the aliens left us a message and it's deciphered here, and I'm just, one, your world is doomed. Two, you guys are not doing great. Like it was just like the aliens talking shit about us. It's like, are they really leave some text message to us like, hey, you guys suck?
They're trying to wake us up. They're like,
What if they
yeah,
landed in some country, like Turkmenistan or something, and then they're like, take us to your leader, and they speak to their president or whatever, prime minister, and that's like that was the extent of their communication with the human race.
And yeah, and that leader is like, come on, guys, this really happened. Like, serious. And he's like, they're at like United Nations and like all the leaders are there. They're like, none of this didn't happen to you guys. And everyone's like, no, like, let's get this guy out of here.
damn it.
Stop me if I've already talked about this, but one of my favorite conspiracy theories is that the Roswell crash was real, and that's how we learned how to make transistor technology. Because before, like, that was invented the same year, and before that, it was like vacuum tubes for everything. And really, like, everything that all our technology is still based on just smaller and smaller versions of those same types of transistors. we've been using since the 50s or whatever. So it's like that's how we were able to like get this big boom ahead into the age that we're in now. And really there has been no breakthrough to that degree since then.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Me
I
too.
remember hearing about that, and I think that's like it just makes sense. Like the timeline works out, and like by all accounts, like it could have easily happened. Like from what we know, like in the Roswell crash happened, and then they came and like the Air Force base that was like close by, they like took all the wreckage and they put it into like two separate trucks, and then they drove it to like Ohio or something like across the country to study it, and then yeah, and then pretty soon all of a sudden they have like all this computer technology. It checks out. I don't know, checks all the boxes.
It's flawless. Really.
Yeah,
Like I'm sure there are zero patents prior to the Roswell crash having anything to do with transistor technology. Don't look it up.
like one of my favorite like alien type of like weird conspiracy theories is that like any UFO you see, it's not aliens. All it is humans in the future. They use them as time traveling devices to kind of come back in time and to look around and like, it's basically like, like the rich people that went into the submarine to go to the bottom of the ocean. It's like a futuristic version of that where they're like the rich people just get themselves pay for a ticket onto a UFO. They're like, "What year do you want to time travel back to?" And they're just like, "Yeah, let's go back to the '80s or something." And then they just show up and they kind of look around, and then they're like, "Okay, time's up," and then they get zipped back to their original timeline.
Now, are the probing kits optional with the tourist package, or
Oh yeah, that's an upcharge for sure. You definitely got to pay for that if
I'm
you want
gonna
the
find
ability
my
to
great great
abduct
great great
people?
grandpa and get to know him real well?
Oh yeah,
What if that's how
that'd
those
be
like they get your memories? Oh, it's not this guy's shitting history. It's gross.
Uh, Segway challenge. Eh.
Eh?
Ack, ack. All right, that's enough for me. John, what do you got for us?
All right, having minimal knowledge of what's transpired before me, I'm gonna
Uh,
go with my hate,
yeah, that's what we needed, baby.
which is e-ticketing platforms. And um I wouldn't mind so much because like you used to be able to just go directly to a venue and avoid all that. So, like if I wanted to go see a concert downtown, I would just go there and buy a ticket, but that's becoming less and less possible. Um, and like, I guess like speaking about all the reasons they suck, but like, um, fees upon fees. They're like the only way to buy tickets for a lot of stuff. So, you just have to deal with whatever bullshit they give you. Um, I remember like years ago there'd be like you could have them send you a ticket or you could print it, but then they would charge you like a $2 convenient fee if you wanted to use your own printer to print it. Like that didn't make any sense. Like they could just do whatever they wanted. And like now, um, like we like to go to Twins games every once in a while, and they have these kiosks outside that are just automated, and you go, um, you know, pick out your seat, put in your credit card, and then you end up paying like 10, $15 less than you would have if you bought online. But then last time I went there, those machines were gone. And I'm like, okay, well, I guess I'll go talk to someone at the counter. And all she did was like show me how to get the MLB app or whatever and like buy the ticket on there. And like that was like the only way to do it now. So like you have to pay fees to this bullshit company and all this stuff. And um it's just annoying. He's I'm on Team Taylor with this one, that's for sure.
I will say that I didn't know what you were talking about at first. I'm with you now, but I went to a concert recently, and the day of, my phone's internet stopped working for some reason. Like it started up again 2 days later. I don't know why, but this day I needed to open up this app and get this ticket to be scanned at the door. And it was then when I was pissed because I like to remember the moment by, and that wasn't already happening. And then for whatever reason, my phone was fucking up. I eventually just used one of my friend's phones and logged in there and then got it all ready so I could go see the show that I paid money for. But it was just such a hassle suddenly when it could have easily been avoided if they didn't make it that way. Like why did they make it that way? I don't get it.
Yeah. And like when I fly, I don't mind having the electronic boarding pass, but I'll always like take a screenshot of it. So, in case I get there and the internet's not working, I'm ready to go. With these ticket platforms, they first of all like disable the feature. So like if you try to take a screenshot, it's just like a black screen. And then if you just wanted to like take a picture with someone else's phone, of the device, the barcode is constantly refreshing. So, like whatever picture you took an hour ago doesn't even work once you get to the venue. Like you have to have your phone with the app with internet access. Otherwise, like it doesn't even work, which is
Oh, and
crazy.
also my freaking bank account information was compromised during.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
So I had to get a new
Um, I don't have any experience with this really, Dave. What do you got to say?
Um, like I agree with everything you guys are saying, and like the other thing, the reason why like Ticketmaster and these companies really suck is because the venues, like I live near Tulsa, and they have the BOK Center, which is like the basketball arena, the big basketball arena. Should be like, I don't know, the United Center or whatever, Target or whatever the arena there in
Target
Minneapolis is.
Center.
Target Center, yeah. And so because that venue has a contract with Ticketmaster, so the only artist that will ever play in that venue is associated with Ticketmaster. So if there's like back in the day, like in the 90s, like Pearl Jam was like, screw this. This is like a stupid idea. And Pearl Jam was like, we're not going to any Ticketmaster places. And they basically Pearl Jam went on a tour and they didn't go to any large venues. They had to go to all these small like bar venues and these like little hole in the wall places, and they play all these small places because they didn't want to give any money and like sign a contract to be like part of Ticketmaster. And it's just crazy. And I want you to expand on like what you mean by like Team Taylor, because it's like, is Taylor Swift, is she like anti Ticketmaster? Because if she is, that's awesome.
Yeah, she is. Honestly, I don't know any of the details, but I know that she doesn't like them. They probably don't like her.
Well, and it's perfectly fine for her because she can like she doesn't need like a basketball stadium. She can like literally just find like a hill in the middle of the European countryside, and there's people for miles and miles. Like she doesn't she's so big that she doesn't even need like a venue with seating. She needs something bigger. So it works for her, that's for sure.
So you're saying she has bad blood? That's a song of hers.
Oh,
She
is
wrote.
it?
Yeah.
Yes, I was like, okay,
So
maybe.
you're saying we should just quit complaining and shake it off?
Yeah, like Ticketmaster is just it's so awful because all of the tickets that you should be buying for a concert, the ticket should be $100. But
I've never heard that
instead,
song. I'm sorry.
instead it's like sometimes it's $300 or $500, or like depending on like the venue and like where it's at. If you're in a large city, it could be like $800, $1,000, and it's the even the artists are pissed off because the money's not even going to the artist. It's just going to Ticketmaster somehow, who owns the rights. And at some point, there's going to be a politician out there who's got the fucking balls to be like, we're putting an end to this and they're going to get my vote. But for whatever reason, like that, there's like some politicians, like they hear about it and they're like, oh, okay. But they have no idea. They're too like separated from normal society and they don't go to live music. But if there was a politician who did, man, that would be great. And they like stop these like evil corporations like Ticketmaster from monopolizing the ticket marketplace.
Yeah, and another thing that I hate is when the ticket buying app has like resale, what do you call it? Where someone buys it just to resell it at a higher price. You know that phrase. Anyway, right alongside like the new never before bought tickets. So you just click on something and like, oh, $150. Like, oh, that's more than I expected it to be. But yeah, I guess that's what it is. When really that's being scalped. That's the term. Thanks, nobody.
Yes. Sorry.
And yeah, so you're like, okay, well, I guess I'll get that. But then you realize like, oh, actually there's still like never before sold seats for like a third of the price, but they're just like right next to each other in the app. So it just like is very confusing and annoying.
Yeah, if it's more than $70, I'm not going to that concert. I think I spent $70 to go see The Used and maybe $50 to go see Taking Back Sunday this year. And I will say that I had a blast. Very fun. Very fun.
The taste of ink, right? That's The Used.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Segway challenge.
To move on to this next topic, you'll have to pay a convenience fee. It's all there in the fine print.
Dave is up, I believe.
Let's do my hate. I recently went shopping at an outlet mall in Oklahoma City, and they have like tax-free weekend. I don't totally understand it, but the weekend we were already planning to go to the mall, suddenly we find out it's tax-free weekend, which means like Oklahoma has like a 10% sales tax on everything, which is fairly high. And tax-free weekend, suddenly there's no sales tax on anything. So like everybody, and they do it like this time of year because like everyone's going back to school, that we can do your school shopping, stuff like that. But that's not even part of my story. My hate is I hate that like the stores, when you go to check out, you can't just like, here's my item, I want to buy this pair of shoes, and just like, here's my money, here's my credit card. Like, that's not how it works. They're like, what's your name? What's your phone number? What's your email?
You want to sign
And
up?
like,
Nice app.
yeah, like I was in like factory shoe outlet or something. And first they ask my name and I give a fake name. And then they ask my phone number. So I give them a fake phone number. And then they ask for my email. And then I was like, I don't want to give you my email. Like,
whatever,
no.
whatever I said my name was at gmail.com.
Yeah, it's just like I was standing in the store and it took 40 minutes to get through that checkout line because everything's like on sale and it's tax-free weekend. There's a line that goes around the back of the store, but I found these like awesome pair of shoes that I needed to have. And after 40 minutes of standing in line, once I get up there, I realized why the line took so long. I just thought it was like lazy employees who didn't want to work fast. Like, no, they're obligated to like have you fill out like a census form, and they want to know like how many square feet like your house is, how many cards are in your wallet, like all of this information.
Can we see the shoes?
Yeah, they're like boots. They're just like I'll grab them. I'll grab them in a minute. But yeah, like I hate how all of these stores and even Nike, when I went there, they wanted to get all my personal information. But I already created an account with them, so I just had to give them my email and they pulled it up. But but like if you go to,
jokes on them.
Yeah, they already stole my information. And it's just like I don't know. It's like everybody has my information. Like the dark web has my information. It's literally anybody has access to it. Like, oh, it's like
Like
you guys
they
already
have,
have my stuff. Like, quit robbing me.
I feel like they get like rewards for getting people's emails, like how many emails they can get. They make it seem as if you have to do it, but really it's just them going like, hey, if I get 50 emails today, I'm gonna get a jet ski keychain.
We're gonna get a pizza party.
Oh, he's gonna go grab the shoes, although we're still waiting for that drawing of a UFO.
Where that UFO at, boy?
Dave's original story though reminded me of Jonah Hill's character in the 40-Year-Old Virgin,
Yeah.
where she has a store where she sells stuff on eBay, and he's just like, yeah, so can I buy these shoes? And she's like, no, you have to, go on eBay and bid on them. And he's like, but I'm here, I'm holding the shoes. Can I just give you money and take the shoes with me?
I was laughing so hard at that scene. Introduced me to Jonah.
All right, well,
Dave's
let's on this audio podcast for some, let's see those shoes.
I mean, they're just like work boots. There's nothing like
Oh.
very special about
Nice.
them. They're Levi, which is a nice brand. But like they're not like serious work boots because you look at the bottom, they're not like made for work boots, but they look that style. But I just needed something to wear like in the winter when it's kind of cold, but I don't want to put on like actual winter boots and I want to wear like blue jeans. Because the problem is like I have like all like basketball or running shoes, and you can't like wear those with blue jeans without like looking weird.
Oh no. I've been making a huge mistake.
When did this start happening more? Because I kind of remember having to put in some weird information, but I haven't shopped in a long, long time.
How do you get your goods?
They're not good. That's the key. They're cheap and bad.
He sends out his man to buy them.
Yeah.
I was at like it was probably like a year ago, like getting something for Brooke for Christmas, and I went to this store called Ulta, which is like a makeup store. And I go in there and I just like Brooke told me specifically, like, get me this type of perfume. You have to get it at Ulta. It's the only place you can get it. So I go there, I get the perfume, I go to check out, and she's like, what's your name? What's your phone number? And I'm like, I'm not doing this. Like, this is a makeup store. Like, I'm not shopping here again. Like, I was like, I don't want to give you that information. So that's what I told her from the get-go. I'm like, I'm not giving you my name. Like, I'm paying with a credit card. Like, my name's right here. So like you know my name. I'm like, I'm not giving you all my info. And she's like, well, if you want to return it, we have to have your name and phone number. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to return it. I'm like, this is perfume. Like, you can't return perfume. That's not how it works. Like, once you open the package, like, otherwise I would just pour the fragrance out into a different container, fill it up with water, and return it. Like, duh. Like, this is like $100 bottle of perfume. Like, I'm not returning it. That's not allowed. So like you can't like bait me into like giving you all my personal information because I'm not gonna be able to return it. So I don't know. But like
It's
and
your own
as it,
lady.
yeah, I don't know. But like I was visibly and like verbally I was visibly upset. And like she knew I was upset because I had just witnessed the guy in front of me like go through the same ordeal, like not wanting to give information, but she like pulled it out of him. And I was
Buckled.
like, I'm like, you're not getting two in a row. Like, no, not today. And I was like, and I told her, I was like, if this is an issue, I'm gonna go somewhere else and I'm not buying this. And then she was
And
like,
she's
all right,
like,
fine.
we know for a fact we're the only place you can get that perfume.
I
And we
tried to
know
buy it
that your
on
woman wants it.
Amazon and it was like a knockoff. Like it was not the real thing and it smelled different. Like my wife knew. She's
buy
like,
it?
this isn't right.
Did you not buy it from her?
Buy it from who?
Did you buy it from the gal?
Yeah, But that's because I bought it on Amazon first, and we got like a knockoff kind, and it was like, oh, okay, it's like that's why it was like $30 cheaper online because it was like a knockoff. But like Amazon, sometimes on Amazon, you're like, oh, it's got good reviews, it must be good, but like, no, it's not the real legit thing because she already had the same bottle at home, so we could compare the scents, and you could tell it was different.
It was actually from a store called Ultra with an R.
The age of Alta. Do we got a set? Do we have a segue challenge? I don't know.
I think that's it.
Yeah, all right.
I'm not giving you anything for a segue challenge. You're not going to get the information from me.
Yeah, but if you want your money back from this podcast episode, we need those digis.
Take it away, Scott. What do you got for us?
I love hoarding. I pretty much keep everything these days, and it stems from when I was making videos when I was younger. Sometimes I would delete stuff to have space on my hard drives because I didn't have a lot of hard drive space at the time. Now you get terabytes for nothing. But and then I would never be able to watch it again. So I was always really upset with that. But it was a thing even before that. My mom was a hoarder, and she always kept like my stuff from grade school. So as like a teenager, I was able to look at that stuff, and I thought that was really fun. So as a teenager, I started keeping like all my tests from classes, all my I have one binder from probably my junior or senior year where it's just like a bunch of notes from classes. And I think it's just super interesting to go and see how badly I did on all those tests. Like, I missed this. How did I get this right? I don't even know what the fuck that is. So I have they used to do handbooks in high school for all those youngins that are watching this podcast. I guess they have tablets now for everybody, but you would have a daily planner that you could write in. And I think I wrote 3 things in it, and a couple of those were just pictures other people drew. But I just love.
And the other one was a curse word.
I didn't ever cuss until I met. No, but it's just so fun to look back at that stuff. And so I keep pretty much everything unless I need to sell it for some quick cash. And that's all I have to say about hoarding. But I love it. I have way too much shit, but I can't part with it.
What do you think of that show, Hoarding or
I
Hoarders?
hate it. They're making us look bad, and I want to give them a knuckle sandwich. No. They have it really, really bad, and I can understand it to a point, but to that point, I can't.
Yeah, because like it seems like
newspapers.
Seems like what you're describing is just kind of like, oh yeah, I want to keep stuff for sentimentalism versus like having a compulsion to keep all of your every old hair from every haircut you've ever had or something like that.
I do have hair from my first haircut. I was a kid, 4 years old or something. It's like braided up in a little braid. I didn't keep that. My parents kept that because they were crazy. I keep it now because I'm crazy.
Please tell me it was a braided rat tail that you had that they just cut off then and kept.
It definitely was. And it's nice and blonde. I was a little blonde boy. I was a damn good looking blonde boy. You guys think I should dye my hair blonde?
At least the tips.
Yeah, start with the tips and then just do the whole thing.
Start slowly and people will just think my hair is going blonde again. Oh, he's not
Yeah.
going, he's going blonde.
We
Weird.
saw Guy Fieri on the television set the other day, and I was like, man, how like burnt is his scalp from all the bleach over the years?
I don't hold on to a lot of stuff. I think I said I hold on to my notebooks, and I think that's sentimental, I suppose. But outside of that, no, I throw everything away eventually. So I do not. Dave, do you collect shit?
Not really. Like, I feel like most of my adult life I've just rented, and like I would move every year or two, And every time I would move, I would generally try to downsize and I would just get rid of tons of stuff. Like I had like a Ford Ranger in the back of my truck. I would just throw half of my shit and I would find a dumpster and I'd throw it away. And like look like there's a million things I wish I still had. And like I'll look at like different Facebook pages that are like the 80s and 90s nostalgia. And it's like,
Oh,
remember this
interesting.
from your childhood? And I'm like, yeah, I do remember. I think I used to have that. And I'm like, but I threw it away when I moved that one time. And it like brings me like a little bit of sadness. So like now I feel like over the last like 4 or 5 years, I've started to like hold on to stuff more. And I like holding on to stuff more, just like for the keepsake value, like the memories that like things hold. Um, so that's awesome. But like with like the hoarding, when I hear the term hoarding, I do think of that TV show. And like there's when they on that show, it's like a they use the same term hoarder for like two different types of people. There's like people who are hoarders that have like a million antiques in their house and they're all like valuable or have sentimental value. And it's just like, an antique store and it's like filled with beautiful items. And then there's like the people who just haven't taken out their trash for 18 years.
Uh,
And it was like, are they hoarders or do they just not take out the trash? Because it's like they just have trash piling up everywhere. And I'm like, that's a different type of hoarding. Like, because I don't know, because there's some people on that show who have like a million things and they're all like really cool. And I'm like, whoa, that's some awesome stuff they have there. Because everything has like a story to it. But yeah, but there's definitely two different types.
I used to
uh,
keep old newspapers that I liked. This is from April 25th, 2002, USA Today. It's a
oh God, this again.
I don't know
Oh,
if you can see it too well, but it's Jason, and it's kind of talks about Kane Hodder and how he would play Jason, and it gives like a rundown of all the box office stuff from the past Friday the 13th films. It's really cool, I swear. But I used to start collecting newspapers like that. I have one for like Spider-Man 2. So this was around I was 15, I guess, when this kind of started, when I really noticed that. I like that kind of stuff. I even bought a laminator to laminate this bad boy, which oh yeah.
You
Look at
That's
you
that.
own
awesome.
a laminator?
Huh?
You own a laminating machine?
Yeah.
Oh man.
I used to have to go to
Um,
the library to get things laminated. I was like, wait a second. I got money, dog.
I've been wasting all these nickels at the library.
It was really cheap to do that.
fellow lamination uh dude right here. I got a laminator. It's fun,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Wow.
Oh.
Gets all warm, and then you're like, You do that too?
I have an old
Man.
newspaper. It's like a Packer Plus, and it's like the issue after Brett Favre retired from the Green Bay Packers in 2007. And like at the time it was cool, but like now it's even like weirder because it was before he unretired like 4 months later and then went to play for the Jets and then played for the rival Minnesota Vikings, and he played like 3 more years in the league. But like it was this perfect point in time when Packer fans loved Brett Favre and were saying goodbye. And then ever since then, like Brett Favre has been like he went to the Vikings and then like he's stealing money from like his kids like tuition, like to stealing money away from the school and like all these other scandals that we won't even get into. But like this was like a perfect moment in time when everyone loved Brett Favre, and that's why it's something special.
I didn't realize that people don't like Brett Favre anymore. Favre,
uh,
Favre.
yeah, a
Favre.
lot of a lot of people hate him.
John, do you collect stuff?
Um, I collect vinyl records and physical video games. Um, I definitely do not collect stuff for sentimentalism, like like stuff from school or whatever. I think I even got rid of like my yearbooks and stuff that I just I don't know, didn't need to have them around or whatever. Um, and I don't really regret getting rid of the stuff. Like it doesn't bother me, I guess. Now that I'm doing all the family research stuff that I've mentioned in the past, like I'm becoming a digital hoarder that like if I can find like some ancestors like marriage certificate or birth record or something like that, like I'm downloading that shit, putting it in the cloud, like keeping it that way. But yeah, like um even like if I was to get like like a stack of documents that were related to that research, I think I would be inclined to just like scan them in and then like not, I mean, I wouldn't throw them out or whatever, but I wouldn't feel the need that, oh, I need to be the one to own these physical copies. Like that doesn't interest me as much.
Uh,
What's your favorite game that you own physically?
I'll just say Hollow Knight for fun, but there's way cooler ones.
What system is that on?
Oh, I just have that. I just like the collector edition for Switch. All right, true answer. Mega Man X3 for the Super Nintendo is one of the rarer ones I own.
I
uh,
always wanted that game, and I could never find it anywhere.
You
You
know
could always
what?
find Mega Man X, and you
Now
could
play it
find
for
Mega Man X2, but not X3.
segue challenge. Let's root around and find a dead cat in our house. Damn it. All right. I think I'm up now. So I will go with um my hate. I hate being warm. I hate the hot temperatures. You know, summer used to be a cool. Summer used to be like the sweet thing to look forward to. But maybe I've gotten older, maybe I've gotten fatter. So now I'm just like, well, I'm warm as it is. And now the temperatures are rising and that sucks. I really don't like it. I had plans to move some old furniture out of my place because I'm like, oh my, I feel like I'm hoarding furniture here. And I set up a thing where I'm like, hey, my sister, can you bring the truck and we'll move some furniture and stuff? But it was a super hot week and I just didn't do anything. That's what the heat can do to me. Um, Dave, remember when we were driving through the desert? I think we were going to Vegas and the
Yeah.
car was getting overheated.
Yep.
And we're just like, what do we do? Like, what happens if it dies? Like, we're gonna be in the goddamn desert, which was just horrible. Like, we had the AC blaring and shit. Didn't matter. Yeah.
Yeah, we had to like take the pillowcases off of our pillows to hang them, like roll them up in the windows as like shade, because like just the only like light that we wanted to get into the car was like through the windshield so you can see where you're going, but every window we had to like put up stuff to keep like the sun out because it was like just it was cooking us. And I remember stopping at like a gas station, and we go into the gas station and they must have had an AC on in there. It felt like it was a cooler. It was just like the beer cooler in the back of a Quick Trip. It was so cold, it was amazing. And like we just bought like Gatorades and like ice cold lemonade and all these drinks. I think like walk back out into like 122-degree heat and just like cooking in the sun, and it was like, oh, it was bad.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I don't like sweating when I not meaning to. If I'm just sitting there and I'm sweating, oh my God, I can't stand it. Fucking hate that. And, they're like, oh, what about the cold? The difference is you can bundle up and get warmer. You can only take off so many items, boys. Before you're completely naked in polite society, they won't let you do that. So, yeah, how do you guys feel about the heat? And is it
Hate it.
on?
I'm with you. I like people always talk about moving south for the winter, but I'm like, can I move like somehow north for the summer. Like, because like I mean it gets hot in the Midwest. Like, can I get farther up north where it's not as hot? I've had to go to Vegas in August a bunch of times, and it's just like you're scrambling from casino to casino trying to like be outside as little as possible, because the second you step outside it's like somebody's blowing a hairdryer at you. um yeah, I would not, I don't care if it's like a dry heat or whatever, like that's too hot.
I love the cold. I keep my place in the mid 60s. I prefer like 66, 68. I usually chill around with a blanket over me, but I just like being cold. So that warm heat, that hot heat, if you will, is not, I'm not a fan. I was filming like a video for my YouTube channel and I was like outside for minutes in front of these old schools that had been torn down and it was just drenched in sweat in minutes and I was just like, what the fuck? Fuck this video. Why am I doing this? Let me get out of here. And I did get out of there. I went home and got into the cold. That was me.
On the other
Yeah, like
hand, I was gonna say I hate when it's like when they just blast the AC and it's like colder than it should be. Like, um, they used to do that at my office. It hasn't been as bad so far this year, but like where it's summer out, but then you're like have to like bring a sweater to work because it's like so cold in the AC. And then like you go outside then and it actually feels good to be out in the oppressive heat, and it takes like 5 or 10 minutes to unthaw from being in the air conditioning. Like that's also kind of annoying.
yeah, that's exactly what happens to me at work. Like I'm so cold at work that when I get out and I'll get into my truck and it's 100 degrees outside. My truck is, like even hotter and stuffier. I won't even turn my air conditioning on. I will just sit in the heat and I have like a 5 or 10 minute drive home and I will just like sit in the heat. It feels so good because I've been freezing all day long. But in general, once I get home, like my house, I always have it as cold as I can possibly make it. Like my bedroom, I always keep that really cold. And then I'm just like, it's really hot outside. My house is cold, and then I'm covered in a blanket. I'm putting on sweats, and it's just like I can't find like the right middle ground of the temperature where I'm just comfortable. It's like either too cold or too hot.
Are you
Um,
guys fan boys? I gotta have a fan on me.
yeah,
Yeah, ceiling
I always
fans.
have a
What do you
fan.
think?
Oh, the sweat lodge or the modern day sauna, I suppose. You get in there and they're like, yeah, it's healthy. You sweat out all the toxins or whatever. But I'm like, I don't fucking care. Like it's like, why would you do that to yourself? And
You don't
like
like hot tubs?
hot
You don't like
tubs, hot tubs is different because usually, there's booze or something. I don't know. But like a sauna, you just sit there and you're like, oh my God. You just don't like it. Um, oh, one of the worst fucking deaths is when you hear about a fucking poor little dog left in the heat in the
Yeah.
car. Like you're just like, God damn it. You get so pissed off at the owner and everything. Ugh.
Yeah, after my third dog died like that, I stopped keeping them in there.
You went on to cats.
That I was just driving my father-in-law's truck, and when you turn off the truck and you take the key out, the little reminder pops up on the dash, and it's like backseat reminder, don't forget anything. And I'm like, are they reminding me not to leave my child in the back seat to cook? Like, that's like wild because some people, people have killed their kids and their dogs that way. I don't know, it's bizarre. But I was like, I don't have anything in the back seat. It's empty.
I hate like I work nights, so sometimes I'll show up in the morning after work, and I'm like, all right, gotta go fall asleep, and it's cool, right? But then the heat goes up during the day when I'm sleeping, and it's like one of the worst. Like I think I get nightmares for heat-induced nightmares, and you hate waking up all sweaty and shit. It's just fucking horrible. And yeah, I have a fan on me at like all times. And if it ever goes out, I quickly think of Ace Ventura when nature calls when he's in that rhino.
It's like, I can't breathe in here.
Kind of hot in these rhinos.
Yeah, I know. This one time I was trying to sleep next to my girlfriend in high school, and we loved that movie. We'd watch it all the time. She was watching it one night. It was like 1 a.m. She just kept laughing and laughing, and it pissed me off so much. I was so mad. But the next day, I was kind of just laughing at myself about it. I love that movie. It's one of my favorites. You can't help but laugh at that movie, though. It's too
You
good.
gotta laugh.
You gotta. Anything else for Blazing Saddles? We move on.
I John kind of touched on it, but because we're from the Midwest, we got to say it's not the heat, it's the humidity. And I do feel like that's very true because like I've had it where I don't mind the heat if I'm sitting in it and it's warm out or it's hot out, I'm fine with it. But if it's humid, I hate it. And if I'm doing something physical and it's in the heat, then I hate it. But if I'm able to just relax, then it's okay.
And like, I was driving somewhere with my wife a couple weeks ago, and it was like 90 degrees out, and there was someone wearing walking outside wearing like a winter jacket or something, and I'm like, I know this is like an overused phrase, but like, is that person like literally on drugs or something that like
Very
they're
well.
just not experiencing the environment they're in? Because like I don't know how they could handle that otherwise. Like, are some people just like that immune to the heat that it's fine for them? Like I could not fathom what was going on.
They were stuck in that jacket. They broke the zipper. They were stuck. I gotta get some milk though, so gosh darn it. My grandma keeps her place at 78 degrees, and it is so hot in there. They love it. I often start like falling asleep because it's just too warm.
Well, isn't that a thing? Like the elderly, they get colder easier and stuff, and that's why they're like, oh, we go to Florida to enjoy our golden years. So maybe I'll feel more comfortable as I get older. And I'm like, oh, I actually feel cold. And, just because I am always warm. I'm a hot-blooded piece of shit, man.
Check it and see.
Yeah. Oh, I bought a sheet, or it wraps around the mattress, and it's cold to the touch, or cool to the touch. I won't say it's cold. And I was like, oh my God, this is really nice. This is going to help me sleep. And I throw a fitted sheet over that. And I'm like, this fitted sheet, even though it's so thin, it's warm. So I have to take it off and lie on that special fabric. But thank God for that fabric. Like, I would like more, really.
Actually, yeah, that's a good point. We bought one of those fancy podcast advertised mattresses, and they had like different options for like memory foam or springs in it or whatever. And the one we bought, they said like it's like a hybrid, and they specifically said it's good to keep you cool at night. And I was skeptical, but I have definitely noticed that like we can keep the house warmer in the summer but still feel cooler because of whatever that mattress is doing to us.
Oh, now are you saying cancerous or what?
No,
Oh, okay.
no, no. It just has something to do with like somehow air passing through the mattress. Like the mattress itself, I think, is breathable or something like that, rather than just being like a thick foam monolith.
When I was in high school and still growing, I guess, I would get really warm when I ate food. Like my lips would feel warm to the touch, and sometimes they would get kind of like red. But that later went away. But yeah, I've always associated heat with like being something ever present with me.
Did it
And
only happen when you ate hot foods?
Yeah,
no,
like
no, just
spicy pepper,
no, just foods. That was the weirdest thing.
like
And after a
foods that you're allergic to.
He's
no,
funny.
how is this hard to believe?
I don't know. Does any of the other three of us have any idea what he's talking about? No.
Oh,
Not really.
I forgot. We all have to experience something to be believed.
Thank you for remembering the rule.
I mean, I was just thinking like it just, like that good food gets your blood pumping, And like if it gets your blood pumping, you're gonna feel warmer.
Are
Then
you cyborg?
I don't know. It's really
Also,
warm, man.
you're also super duper thin, weren't you? So maybe you just couldn't handle what you were eating. It's too much for your fragile little body back then.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Your metabolism was just burning it away instantly.
Shit. All right. Segment challenge. Uh,
Speaking of foods, I'm indifferent to expiration dates on foods. I think they're good in that like they don't allow stores to sell you old ass shit. Like, oh, we found this box of stuff in the basement. Let's see if anyone will buy it. Um, and I think they're also good for like prepared foods. Like if a deli makes something and puts it out on the shelf, you know if it's like 3 days old or 6 days old or whatever. So that aspect is good. But then I also feel like manufacturers can abuse it by like if they put the dates too early and like something's perfectly fine, but you bought it already and you're like, oh, it's expired. I don't know if I should trust it. So then you throw it away and go and buy a new one. Like I feel like for shelf stable foods, the expiration dates are way too early. Like stuff is almost always fine for quite a long time after the date has passed, it seems like.
I remember
Like,
I bought
oh,
some food. I thought it was blueberry bread. It was not. It was moldy. What do you guys have to say about expiration dates?
if it's marked off, I'm like all about it. Hey, this is 50% off. I'll eat that tonight. Let's go. And it's usually because it's expired. Is my
Yeah,
fault.
I'm also a fan of that. That happens at the co-op a lot. And I used to volunteer at the co-op, and if we found something expired on the shelf, we could take it home.
Just the whole time you're there, just
I
You're
wasn't
taking stuff and
not
like
doing that.
hiding stuff in secret spots. Like, oh, I'm gonna get you next week.
I love that.
Wait, John, Dave, didn't you? Well, I worked at a grocery store as well, but I was in the meat department, blue collar work. But did any of you guys like do the shelves and like maybe you guys know about the expiration date?
Yeah, I worked at the IGA for about a year. Definitely did my share of looking through the shelves.
I
Kind
worked
of.
at Target, like a super Target, and like I worked in the grocery department a lot, but like I don't like have any insights on anything other than like I agree, like a lot of the dates are super subjective and they're kind of just based on trying to get you to buy the product a little more quickly. Like if you buy yogurt and like the yogurt will generally expire like 3 to 4 weeks like after you buy it, but it's fairly shelf stable. It's not like milk. Like milk, you have like, a week to 10 days or something. Um, like milk, you can tell just by the smell of it when it goes bad. But there's a lot of other things that like the dates are, I don't know, it's just so subjective. There's like deli meat that'll have an expiration date where it's like, oh, it goes bad in like a couple weeks, and it's like this stuff is like cured with salt. Like it's gonna last forever. Like it's like all of our ancestors would salt their meat and cure it, and then that's how it would be shelf stable and it would last them for months. Like you can't tell me the stuff like it's gonna go bad. But I do generally, I will go to Walmart. They have like a shelf back by the deli, and it has like all the expired like bakery goods on it. So they have like bread and muffins and donuts, and it's like 30 to 40% off most of the stuff. And like, yeah, I bought some muffins like a week or two ago, and they were delicious. And it was like, yeah, they
Those weren't
expired like
blueberries.
that. They were blueberries though. So like if it was mold, you'd also just think it was blueberries and you'd have no idea.
It's the perfect crime.
Yeah.
Angel food cake.
One thing that does worry me though is that I've been at places where it'll be like, this expires today. We're gonna change that label to 3 days now so we can, because we got too much of this, we got to get rid of it, kind of thing. And that's worrisome. So be aware that that is happening.
I've experienced that at restaurants.
Well, that's what I was asking about. Insider information about expirations. You know what
Well,
I mean?
I was thinking like grocery stores, but
Oh, okay.
like in Buffalo Wild Wings, I worked there, but there was always just like the way they get around it is, well, after this meat has been thawed, after the chicken's been thawed for so many hours, like you have to cook it. And then once you cook it, the expiration date, well, now it's good. You can hold it for 24 hours. And then once you get up close to the 24 hours, you dice it up and then you portion it out for street tacos. And then it's good for another 24 hours because you cut it up and put it into a different container. Like, and it didn't, I don't know, like there was just this weird circular logic that if you keep repurposing the food, then the expiration date starts over. And it's like Wendy's does the same thing with like the meat in their chili, where they like just take the old hamburgers, turn it into chili, and then suddenly there's a new expiration date on it.
That blew my mind because I worked at, that was one of my first job. It was actually my first job. I worked as a cook at Wendy's, and they said that that's what we did. And I was just like, what? I love this movie. I guess now I know the truth, though.
Oh my god. Well, is that have we reached our expiration
This
date?
topic, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I just was laughing because I always feel like it's so awkward at the end. You're like, we all good? We all good?
Well, because I feel like I come off way too bossy if I'm like moving on. You know what I mean? Like, so I never know if you guys have more to say or not. I can't read you people.
We need our benevolent dictator.
Yeah. I like being bossed around, Vince.
Oh, he likes it. That makes it weird for me.
So stop.
It's the hate for me to get enjoyment.
God damn it. All right. Well, here's a few shades of gray for you. Go to a few GoldilockBears.com. Tell your friends, tell your foes. Just listen to the podcast. If you're on YouTube, like, subscribe, comment. This was Vincent Cloud.
You know what?
David
As
Lau-
a listener to this first part of this episode for the first time, I'm gonna listen and give it an unbiased 5-star review. So I'm John Emmett.
Are you going to use a fake name?
Non-Gemmet. Was a huge fan.
Who's did everyone say goodbye?
Hi, I'm Scott.